how BTS Teamwork makes the dream work. I recently was watching a Jin interview, the drunk Jin interview with the girl. It was quite hilarious. And there's something Jin said. He got a little bit drunk and he said this. What BTS makes, us together as a team, like such a successful group, is we allow ourselves to be individuals. And he took a great example of saying other groups, you see one single member puts their own success and their own album on a pedestal, not the group as a whole. Jin said they all respect each other and they allowed themselves to do whatever each member wants to do. They respect, if Jungkook wants to explore with a certain different kind of album, if Namjoon wants to do something else and respect their album, they respect that and they let that member to do what they want to do. But at the same time, they never put themselves one person. They don't say, oh, I'm this, and they don't put themselves on a pedestal. The group as a whole is their first priority. That's what Jin said when the girl interviewer, complimented Jin saying, oh no, you became the successful artist and you're one of the most famous groups, one of the most famous artists in the world. But Jin said, it's not me, it's our teamwork, it's our group's work. And Jin said that when he was like really, really drunk. So that's also coming out of without filter. When you get really drunk, sometimes, you don't have logical reason. It's coming from your heart. The reason why you get drunk, you don't have filter, is usually your brain, the alcohol literally closes down your prefrontal cortex. And when you have a thought and you filter through your logical part of your brain, and sometimes, you don't want to say certain things. When you're drunk, that logical part of your brain is shut off. So you're saying something that is just like pure thought, coming from like your emotion. You're not filtering. So that came out of Jin, and I thought it was really beautiful. And I watched that yesterday, and seeing this title, it made me think of that, how BTS Teamwork makes the dream work. So let's see what she has to say.
Recently, the NSYNC members reunited after 20 years to release an OST for an animated film. And I came across a clip of an interview where they say something that caught my attention.
Yeah, One Direction's an amazing band, but you have 5 guys that are amazing singers and great soloists. So when they come out and do songs, it's like you fight over, where is this gonna be? We kind of knew we sucked at singing certain things. We fell into our spots and we knew our place. It was like I knew I'd be the high stuff, these guys would do the leads, Joey would be in the middle, and Lance would be on the bass. It was a lot easier since
we all also know all the boys are great soloists too. They're all great artists like One Direction. But what One Direction is, I don't know anything about One Direction. But from what he's saying, they all have their own egos, and they fight over who's gonna be the lead singer, who's gonna take the most credit, who's gonna have the most amount of screen time. I think for the boys, they just don't care.
He started with a sound rather than 5 amazing vocalists. I mean, not to say we're not, but I just did.
I don't completely disagree with everything they are saying, but all of this did make me think for a while. Is it possible to have a vocal group in which all the members are extremely good singers? Does a group can only have 1 or 2 frontmen or frontwomen to last? Does this apply to BTS, the current biggest group in the world? These are their main points. And remember that this is not about bands. It's about vocal groups, in which all the members' instruments are their voices. Number 1. It's easier to start with a sound rather than individual
What I think distinguishes BTS from other groups like One Direction is, they don't have a certain ego, and their priority is group as a whole. It's quite hard, I think. When you decide to become a singer and idol, that's a certain kind of individual. Just like, I think politicians. I think people who decide to become politicians, I mean, politics are coming in right now because election is currently going on. I'm not in America right now, and tomorrow is an election day for me. So I have to give, for the district that I live in, I have to give certain elections. And I was looking at all the people there, and some of them, I really didn't like. Some of them maybe I liked, but I didn't know. I didn't have a great choice. I thought all the people in there had, a certain kind of an ego, and that made me think, people who decide to become politicians in the first place, and that I think that applies to singers and actors and idols. Well, there is going to be people who are narcissistic and egotistical in nature. That's perhaps why they choose to become an idol, an actor, and politician in the first place. When you have that selection of groups, individuals, and they make a group, of course they're going to fight over who's going to have the highest amount of time, who's going to become the solo artist, and that's going to bring more recognition to that. In order for a group to be successful for long periods of time, there needs to be more emphasis towards as a group as a whole is more important. and not the solo artist himself. And for our boys, I think they understand that truly. And for them, it's more about they truly enjoy the group, and I think they ask themselves, what makes them happy, and they genuinely enjoy being with the boys. It's not a competition amongst themselves. They enjoy their company. They enjoy making content together. They enjoy shooting things together. They're family together, and they see themselves together for until they die. Hopefully they raise their kids together, they go to family trips together. Isn't that cute? And for them, it's not a competition. There's no end game here. This is not a winner takes all competition kind of game. It's everybody gets to win. If somebody is gonna shine more in this certain kind of music video, they don't care. They want that person to get that part, and they all know they're all good. They all know they can dance. They all know they can sing. There's something beautiful about that harmony.
Vocals. Number 2. Group members that fall into their spots and know their place, like NSYNC, work smoothly. Number 3. When all the members of a group are great soloists, like One Direction, they're going to fight for the spotlight, creating conflict. Let's take this apart. And yes, this is going to be one of those videos in which I overanalyze one small piece of content because why not? The first point is that
this song has grown on me too. It's really catchy. Did you guys think so? I don't know. The vocals, there's something catchy about it. Like, it makes you groovy and happy.
Start with a sound rather than individual vocals. I agree with this. This is actually how BTS started. Hip-hop and R&B were their first big inspirations. The vocal line singing in harmony and the rap line taking turns for the rap parts were very present in their first trilogy of albums known as the School Trilogy. With time, each member started finding their own sound and leading certain songs. With even more time, every member started having solo songs in both BTS's albums as well as in their own solo projects. So I totally agree. It's easier to start with sound rather than individual vocals, but you cannot do this forever. It can become repetitive and boring, not only for the public but for the members themselves. That's why Cher and NSYNC lasted longer than One Direction, but they also broke up relatively early in their careers. Another one of their points is that One Direction didn't work out because they were all amazing singers from the beginning. But in my opinion, One Direction did not start with 5 amazing individual vocalists. They actually started with one sound, just like NSYNC did. This sound not evolving was Zayn's main motivation to leave the group. Zayn wanted to do more R&B, but his songs and even his natural voice recordings were always rejected. So starting with sound is fine, but the sound needs to evolve. Especially with boy bands, members start young, so it's unnatural to maintain the same sound forever. In the case of BTS, they've been over a decade together because they allowed themselves to evolve their sound. Sure, the classical BTS R&B harmonies from their School Trilogy are still present in their songs, but it's not all they do.
Also, evolving as a song, let's say, okay, somebody makes a great suggestion. Perhaps we should explore this kind of music genre. Maybe from Jun, the leader, he says, this looks interesting. And I think because nobody has an ego, they actually look towards to changing and trying new things. And for them, it's part of play and curiosity. Hopefully they're having fun too while they're exploring new music. And if they do want to explore certain kind of individual music and genre, just like R&B music, more jazz style, I think it's more tailored towards V's taste. If you want to talk about purely pop songs, Jungkook goes that way. And now more individual and artistic songs, Jun is creating that, and purely hip-hop music is coming from Suga and Hobby. And singing is just Jin and Jimin. It's also Jimin is exploring a little bit of more pop style, but it's a little bit different from Jungkook's, and they want to explore that. They do get to explore that. And as a group, when they want to evolve, and if one member suggests something, I think they are looking forward to it. They're not having a huge ego. They look at it logically and thinking, how is this going to affect BTS as a group? How is ARMY going to like it? Or are we going to have fun making this? And they talk about it. And I think they talk about those things without any kind of an ego. I like to imagine them sitting around and having a discussion. I think I know, and we all certainly do. They're having those kind of discussions without kind of an ego, and they explore that.
And as a group, they do more genres and sounds than any other group I've seen in my life. Number 2. Group members that fall into their spots and know their place work smoothly. It's okay to start with a sound in mind, but that usually comes with certain roles. That's what NSYNC said. One did the high notes, one did the bass, one was at the center, etc. But I don't think you can realistically fall into your same spot forever. That is exactly why most Western groups disband early. Knowing your place in the group can help a lot to prevent conflicts related to performing. It's a very professional stance, but it can and it will almost definitely limit growth. Because at the end of the day, the NSYNC members can talk all they want about their group working out, but they only lasted 2 more years in One Direction, and they did end up breaking up because Justin was secretly planning a solo career.
Yeah.
Their words, not mine.
Yeah.
Of course, One Direction...
Solo career and ego, just like somebody who's, let's say, if Justin Timberlake is taking the main lead role, and Justin Timberlake is way more famous than the other people, so there's gonna be an ego. You know, it's gonna be involved. They would want more. They would see their group member success, and they would get jealous of it. And well, what it comes down to is probably core personality. With like deep down genetically, what kind of person are they? I think BTS, all the boys, somehow magically, they are just like pure, kind people. Like at heart, I truly believe that. Kind people. That's their character. The family they grew up in, the childhood they had, that perhaps even genetically it was that way. And this makes it even more magical. The group, all the boys coming together as a whole. What are the chances, right?
breakup carried more conflict than NSYNC's breakup. But just because NSYNC took the most professional way of doing things doesn't mean that this is the best way and the best outcome a group can have. They are simply not a good...
Did you notice what she said? Best outcome the group can have. It's not the best outcome the individual can have. It's the group first, not individual first. And again, at the end of the day, I think when you put the group first in the long term, what makes you happy, like individually, selfishly, even if you become a solo artist and you become famous and earn more money, earn more fame, and if you're alone, who cares? Like, do you think that extra $1 million and 1 million followers on your Instagram made you happy when you were 80 years old? No. You stay with your group, the group that was with you for decades. You were trained with that group for 17 years. Do you think that extra $1 million and that extra 1 million followers on that Instagram, it made you happier when you're older? I don't think so. You look at yourself, maybe you're in your deathbed, you look beside you. Who are they? Your family, your parents, perhaps your kids, and then your members. They're gonna be there. And that's, I think, in the long term, even selfishly, if you put the group first, it's gonna make you happier. In the short term, it might make you happier if you become more successful as a solo artist. But in the long term, if you really think about it, staying with the group, putting the group first, it's gonna make you happier. Hey, if you want to watch full uncut reactions, click the link in the description for Patreon. Sometimes I have to edit the video a little bit, like I'll add a black screen or I'll change the audio a little bit. So if you want to watch full uncut, unedited video, click the link in the description for Patreon. Plus, you get added benefits like exclusive song reactions. Sometimes I'll react to albums, I'll react to concerts and eliminate 1 or 2 songs, which will be exclusive on Patreon.
Pop, they will be considered just one more group victim of the 7-year curse. Falling into your spot and knowing your place in the group are things extremely common in K-pop. Each member falls into a very specific category. Lead vocal, main vocal, sub-vocal, lead rapper, main rapper, sub-rapper, lead dancer, main dancer, etc. Western boy bands don't have these exact names, but groups like NSYNC follow a similar structure. So if it's not working with Western groups and it's not working with K-pop groups, why do you still think that this is the correct way of doing things? Maybe K-pop companies notice this, because with time, and whether K-pop fans want to admit it or not, with the increased global popularity of BTS, it became less common for the members of a K-pop group to have designated positions. Maybe this is because when BTS debuted in America, there was not really a recognizable main guy or a main rapper or a main dancer. They all dance and they all perform. So the response by K-pop companies was to debut groups in which all the members are almost the same artist. They have a similar color of voice, a similar personality, a similar vocal range, a similar dancing ability, and even a similar appearance. I'm not saying that this is good or bad. In my opinion, it can work sometimes, but other times it's just boring. especially for a Western audience that likes finding a unique trait in each member of a group. All the members of a group not overpowering each other doesn't mean that they have to be the same. With BTS, there's no uniformity, there's cohesion. They are all very different people with very different skill sets. Each of them plays a unique role in the group, just like NSYNC said they did. But their positions are not set in stone because their sound is also not set in stone. A variety of sounds allows each member to find a wider variety of voices. With each sound they do, they rotate their positions in the group, even inspiring them to try new sounds in their solo projects. In 2013, no one...
Also, it's a question of, is it uniquely their character? Even if all the other members try to copy BTS or they try to copy their personalities, trying to be the same artist, trying to take same position, they might be faking it. What if the label, right, the big labels, they're telling them, oh, you have to play this certain role, you guys have to fit this certain criteria in the group, and that's going to make you successful in the K-pop industry. Well, now they're authentically faking their personality. And with the boys, they're not, it's authentically who they are. They're acting authentically. There's no faking. They're not trying to be the same artist. They're not trying to take the spotlight. That's who they are. They're being honest. They're authentic with who they are.
Have thought that RM would release acoustic songs in which he only sings, or that Jin would choose to dance full choreographies in his solo songs, or that J-Hope would choose to release a rockier sound in which he doesn't dance. This is the benefit of not just falling into your spot. It's important to recognize what you bring to the table, but longevity will come when you allow the members to find more than one skill they can bring to the group.
And they're choosing the skill based on their own interests too. They're not having a certain kind of member telling them, oh, you do this thing because it's going to help the future of the group. Or the label hype saying, oh, you Suga or you RM has to do this because you're leader. You have to explore this kind of genre. I think it's going to fit more appeal. I think it's going to bring more favoritism. It's going to bring more fans from this kind of diverse groups. Nobody's telling them that. They're exploring the parts that they actually want to explore. They're following their own taste. And in the long term, that's even makes the individual artist, all the boys, even more skilled because they're genuinely following their curiosity and their own tastes.
Number 3. When all the members of a group are great soloists, they are going to fight for the spotlight, creating conflict. This comes with the assumption that in a group there has to be a lead role, and if every member fits the lead role because all of them are extremely talented, the other positions will be forced and unnatural. This point was my main motivation to make this random video, because I disagree. Each BTS member has proven over the years that they are amazing soloists, and I believe that's exactly what sets them light years apart from other boy bands or K-pop groups. I'm not trying to say that there's not a single group apart from BTS in which all the members are capable of being amazing soloists, but what I am saying is that they are not successfully bringing those unique talents to their groups. I've talked before about K-pop's attempt of a supergroup, which is formed with members successful as solo artists or as members of other groups. But I believe that one of the many reasons they did not work out artistically is because they all kind of lower their abilities to match each other in songs that don't favor them, instead of being different unique pieces of an interesting puzzle. In my opinion, that is the only way a group full of talented artists can work. A good non-K-pop related example is Pentatonix. By themselves, they have different solo careers, and together, they are probably the most successful a cappella group. And
Wow,
they've been
I've
active
never
for more
heard
than
this
12 years.
group.
When they are a group, each of them brings something to the table. Like NSYNC recommended, each of them has their own position: tenor, baritone, soprano, percussion, and bass. But their variety of sounds allows all of the members to be at the center and be the backing vocals at some point or another. When a very talented artist is surrounded by other very talented artists, there has to be selflessness. You will have your moment to shine, and you will have to
Selflessness.
help your teammates shine as much as you. This is the only way I've seen supergroups truly work. For example, BTS's first Grammy performance was thanks to RM's work as a solo artist. The nominated song was Old Town Road, and only
What
RM
she said, the selflessness, I think it could be the core. And okay, let's dive deeper. Where does the selflessness come from? I think it's genuine love for the members. If you genuinely love your members, you will be selfless in nature. Like when you love somebody, right? Your parents, your kids, you want to act selflessly for that other person's success. And where does that come from? In deeply, like authentically, it's love for the other person.
Performs in one of the remixes, but he decided to share his 50 seconds in the song with all of the BTS members. I'm not sure other group members would have been selfless enough to lift their groups along with them. But for BTS, this is a common practice. Each BTS solo career are 7 different opportunities for them to redirect audiences to BTS as a supergroup project, especially in recent years. When they promote a solo artist, they always introduce themselves as a member of BTS.
I go by the name of RM of BTS.
안녕하세요, BTS입니다.
반갑습니다. 슈가이자.
I love this.
BTS 방탄소년단의 비입니다.
Don't you feel a strong, like, I guess love is the right word right now towards the members? It's cute.
If only one member is part of a collaboration with another artist, most times they will
Sigh.
make BTS's name visible one way or another. This was the case of Sultan Road and BTS's first Grammy performance in 2020. It was a song by Lil Nas X, RM, and BTS, although only RM performed in the digital version. Suga's Interlude, in which only Halsey and Suga perform, is a song by Halsey, Suga, and BTS. Left and Right, in which only Charlie Puth and Jungkook sing, is a song by Charlie Puth, Jungkook, and BTS. When BTS is not a featured artist in a collaboration, they will sometimes add member of BTS. Angel Part 1 and 2 are songs by Jimin of BTS. Lilith is a song by Suga of BTS. Rush Hour is a song by J-Hope of BTS. My point is that BTS takes the phrase "teamwork makes the dream work" very seriously. Of course, the why of this is another story.
One for
but
all,
in summary,
all for one.
their lack of opportunities and constant struggles in the industry allowed them to find out that together they are stronger. Their increasing success proved them right. So even today with their solo projects, they are constantly creating opportunities and visibility for their team. But this selflessness goes beyond their group projects, because for them, this is more a mindset than a strategy. Even when they are performing with other artists who are not part of BTS, they still maintain their teamwork mindset. This tweet says something interesting about BTS's selflessness as performers. I saw a clip of a K-idol singing a song impromptu with a soloist. He was good. He had the skill. He had the technique. The crowd was awed at his performance. The girl he was singing with, usually a good singer, seemed to be trying to keep pace. It played like a battle between two vocalists trying to best each other, with the audience passively receiving what's being dished out to them. Like this Twitter thread mentions later, J-Hope of BTS gave J. Cole a space to shine in their collaboration. This is J-Hope's song. He is doing the promotions. He is doing the performances by himself. But he still gave J. Cole the spotlight. And BTS does this with every artist they collaborate. They make the featured artist one more member of BTS. I think this is more than just being respectful. When a collaboration...
It's selflessness and humbleness, and I think the mindset in the end is really important. It doesn't matter what industry you're in, right? Whatever profession you're working on, I don't think anything is, one for all. It's not like a video game. It's not winner takes all, I think. It's a selfless game in the end. And I think people who do become successful, like really, really successful in any kind of industry, I truly believe they're the humble people, though, without ego. And nowadays I see really, really strong glamorization of being egotistical. You see people, flashing crazy cars and Lambos and girls, or the girls flashing certain kind of things, and that having high ego is appraised in a certain kind of way. I have fallen at fault at that. In the beginning, when I was a younger teenager, I was really deep into sports and bodybuilding, and just that ego side of things is glamorized in certain kind of individual sports, especially in wrestling and bodybuilding. The sports that I was in, it was individual sports, and being egotistical is quite glamorized. And I've fallen into that, and I felt like, having ego is a good thing. But now I realize, well, at the end of the day, the people I admire the most has been the humblest people. And I think when you realize how big the world is, and you actually see the people that you admire, people who are much higher up in you in terms of wiser, smarter, happier, have greater relationships, I realize they are really, really humble people. And people who are extremely egotistical, at the end of the day, I don't think they're happy. they're not happy. I don't know how they feel when they sit alone in a room. I don't know what their state of mind is.
Group look more like a competition rather
I don't
than
think
a
it's
union
positive.
of talents, it shows. So I agree that it's very hard for groups to work out when they are all extremely talented. But BTS has shown that it's not impossible. When groups in which every member is a star truly prioritize teamwork, the results will always include success. But there has to be real teamwork. There has to be real selflessness. Just think about all of the BTS members doing their mandatory military service together. The younger members don't have to go for another 3 or 4 years. But since it was time for Jin to go, then they are all going now. This way, they can all reunite as soon as possible. You may think this is obvious, but no other K-pop group
Hobby's
has done
coming
this.
back
They always
next
wait
week.
until each
One
of
more
them
week.
reaches the age when they have to go. They
Dude.
prioritize their personal interests, which I'm not saying is bad, but it does show BTS's unique teamwork. In conclusion, I mostly agree with what's being said in this clip. It can be a lot easier to focus on sound rather than individual vocals. It's true that group members that fall into their spots and know their place tend to work smoothly. It's true that when multiple members of a group are great soloists, they are most probably going to fight for the spotlight. But I think all of this being true most of the time makes BTS an even more impressive
musical,
act.
yes.
Against all odds, they
Yes.
overcame every obstacle. They survived their first years with not many opportunities. They became the biggest group in an industry that only allows groups from big agencies to be at the top. They made a name for themselves
Yeah.
in an industry that doesn't truly welcome foreign music. They paved the
Cute.
way for Korean artists to have global visibility. And they remain as proof that being in a group does not automatically mean talented people being limited. When done
Yeah.
correctly and sincerely, the members of vocal groups can bring the best of each other and create art that relates to many.
The more I watch her videos, the more I see how cute they are as a group, their interactions, they're as a whole. The more more I watch her videos, the video essays, or see her comparisons to other groups, what makes them exceptional, I see how cute, and I fall in love with in terms of their interaction, their like brotherhood and family as a whole. And I do think I'm forming a really strong bias here too. So oftentimes I know bias, it's not necessarily a healthy thing to have, so it would be important, or I would like to see in other interactions and with other groups too. I don't know, what other groups do you guys listen to? Since I don't know anything about K-pop. I grew up watching 1 or 2 K-dramas. I know Running Man, like Korean culture in general in terms of K-pop songs. I don't know, maybe I know 1 or 2 like really famous Gangnam Style Psy songs, or like Big Bang songs that was really popular when I was super young. That's it. That is as far as it goes. Or like super famous TikTok and Instagram Reel songs that I see pop here and there. That is as far as it goes. And K-pop is not BTS, and only group that I know is BTS. So it is quite intriguing, and it makes me curious to see what other groups look like. What other groups that do you guys listen to that is not like BTS, but you find similarities and you actually enjoy and see like genuine good group dynamic too. Most commented groups that I see on the channel is 17 and Stray Kids. I have watched 2-3 music videos on this channel of Stray Kids. I think 17, I don't know anything about. I'm pretty sure they're younger generation of BTS too. So I am curious about what other groups do you guys listen to other than BTS, and I am curious too to delve into, see other groups' interactions, because I do sense that I'm forming a really strong bias here too.